Hi, this is Elizabeth with Southern Embellishment, and we all love tea dye, do we not? We tea dye tags, and they come out so beautifully, uniquely done. We tea dye paper. We even tea dye little bags. We love to tea dye. And what I want to show you today, I have never seen before. That doesn't mean it's not out there, so I apologize if it is out there and I don't know it and haven't given you credit for it, but I have personally never seen it done. But I started using this technique in creating a gift for a friend of mine, and I got so excited about it because I thought it was just a different technique, and it just turned out beautiful. And at least I think it did, and I hope you do too. And I'd like to share that with you today. And that is tea dyeing leather. We probably love leather. It just stands the test of time. It gets better as time goes on. And the more you use it, the more supple it gets and the more beautiful it becomes. I used the tea dye method on this leather, and I just love the way that it ended up, and I wanted to share that with you and explain to you what I did. This is what the leather looked like prior to tea dyeing it, and I hope you can see the difference in the color. Now this color would be hard to carry and use every day because, as you can see, just being in the on the shelf in the store, it has marks on it and it would show dirt a lot. To where once you tea dye it, and I distressed it, once you do that, then it already looks grungy, it looks antique, it looks vintage, and it just makes a beautiful, beautiful cover. Now we all love the Midori system. If you have come across the Midori system of day planners or journals, however you decide you want to use your Midori, it is an awesome system. This project here is kind of Midori meets Tim Holtz vintage style, tea dye meets leather. It's just kind of a combination of all of that together, and I'm going to show that to you today. First, I'd like to show you the Midori system. This is another journal. This is the smaller one that I made to fit into a man's pocket, vest pocket, suit coat pocket, shirt pocket, or just carry in his briefcase. It's a beautiful piece of leather, and I used another piece of leather and used the Tim Holtz Gadgets and Gears die and cut out, this is leather, cut it out, and then I grunged it up. Both of these I used for my distress ink. I used the brushed corduroy. On this one, I used the black soot over top of that, and then came back again and did another layer, of the brushed corduroy. And I just love the way it turned out with the grungy vintage appearance. I wanted to go over the Midori system with you. The Midori system is a system of elastic bands through the leather that allows you to utilize and replace your inside insert notebooks rather than getting rid of the whole book as you would a regular journal or a regular notebook or sketchbook. You can reuse the leather, which becomes more meaningful to you through time. And so they have these system of elastic bands, and I'm going to show you. I have these 4 books, and this is Tim Holtz paper. And I'm sorry I don't remember the name of the paper stash, but I made these 4 books. I inked the edges and distressed some of them. I did the pamphlet stitch on these, and then you just take and go to the center, slide it right into the elastic, and they're called traveler's notebooks and journals. And this one is heavy duty paper. You can use fountain pen, certain markers on it, not the Copic it goes through, but other Sharpies and things like that. Watercolor probably would go on it. I haven't personally tried that out. But so you take your next elastic band and you slide it in there. All of the notebooks that I make, I do the pamphlet stitch on them. This is heavy duty. I ink the edges again with the brushed corduroy. This is heavy duty paper, and it is watercolor, fountain pen, or regular pen. So you can use these for making lists, notes, travel journals, travel book, of trips that you take, or sketching, or just writing down memorable things you don't want to forget. And then it's all neatly bound in this leather cover, and you have this elastic band around it. Now normally there's a charm, but with the gears on here I wanted to leave just the band and not put too much on there. So that's the Midori system. Now let's go back to the tea-dyed leather. This is the technique that I have not seen and that I have enjoyed doing so much. This is my second project. The first went to my dear friend and as a gift to her, and so this is the second one I've done. And I tea-dyed it, then I distressed it with the brushed corduroy, and then I went around the edges with the black soot, distressed ink, and then I came back over it again with the brushed corduroy. And then I used the Stampers Anonymous, Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous number stamps. They're about, I don't know, 2.5 inches high. And in the brushed corduroy, I stamped 2 and a 0. Since we're in the year 2014, I stamped that and put the 14 there. Now it doesn't have to mean that to you. That's just my thought on it, and then it can be changed out each year, each calendar year as you want. I used the plackets, the metal plackets, Tim Holtz Ideology metal plackets. And you can get these at Michael's, Joann's. You can order them online, anywhere that has Tim Holtz and scrapbooking supplies. So that is the cover. And now let me show you on the inside, which I really like. Now this is, again, the Midori elastic band system. And I left this, I tea-dyed this, but I did not distress it with the inks. I liked it just the way it was. And if you want to know how to tea-dye, how I tea-dye the leather, because there is a technique a little different than paper, then please leave a comment down below, and I'll be glad to do a tutorial, a follow-up tutorial on how to tea-dye the leather. And there is a couple things I learned while doing it that may help you. And so if you're interested, just let me know and I'll be glad to do that for you. And I used in this Midori Fauxdori journal, traveler's notebook, I used the Tim Holtz Ideology Wallflower paper stash. And this is just a beautiful, it's one of the new ones. I already ordered my second one because I just love this and I'm using it in a lot of different projects. But it comes in 12 by 12. It has 6 by 6 in it, 3 by 3, 3 by 4. It has all of those in this paper stash. It's just a beautiful, beautiful paper product. And so that's the papers I used in here. Now on your Midori system, you will have, you can order zipper pouches, business card pouches, so on and so forth. Well, I decided to come up with a business card pouch, trying to decide how we could do it. That would be something that we could make. We all like to be thrifty. And this is part of the paper stash. And so I took one of the 12 by 12 pieces, cut it to fit. This is the same size as the Midori. And it is, let me grab my ruler and I will show you the measurements. And of course it's my Tim Holtz ruler. And it measures 4.5 wide by 8.25 long. And these are 4.25 by 8 1/4. This was a little bit, I made it a little bit different size so it could go around and go in easily without any problem. But what I did is I took a 12 by 12 and cut it, folded it in half, and then I took baseball card holders and I cut them. I was sure not to cut in between or where they are sealed on the back side of them, and that way all I had to do, I used the red heavy-duty double-sided tape, and I used the wide, and I went 3 strips across, and I taped it on the folder, on the inside of the folder, and it can hold 6 business cards. It can hold more, but you've got a place for at least 6 business cards or appointment cards, and they're easy to go in and out. So that goes around this outer, wherever you want to put it. I put it around my first traveler's notebook here. Wherever you want to put it in your journal is fine. But right now I'm going to lay it aside because I want to show you the beautiful colors. I just love this collection, as I've already said, and anything that has birds or butterflies in it, I'm going to use it because I love it. And this collection has a lot of birds, a lot of butterflies, a lot of nature, and I just really, really enjoy it. And it's so very colorful. I have 4 books in here. And what is so nice about this is even though I have 4 plus the business card holder, there is still, it's very lightweight, amazingly lightweight. I was very surprised. It has a lot of opportunities for sketching, writing, journaling, whatever you want to do, your bills, holding your bills, whatever you want to do, your budget, whatever. This first book has got in it, I did a little different. The Midori will, sometimes they make folders that you can wrap around, and there's a lot of different designs out there and a lot of good tutorials on how to make folders for your Midori or Fauxdori. And I did this one a little different. I've made folders for other ones, but this one I did each folder, front and back. I took part of, this was the ATC size in the paper stash that matched the book, and so I took that and put it as a folder for envelopes. I have tea-dyed tags in here right now, but it can be for envelopes, bills, notes, whatever you want to put in there. It can be put in there, and you've got one in the front and you've got one in the back. And this, of course, is the other side. This is double-sided paper, and that's the other side of this paper. And so that's the first book, and it's in the first elastic. I always make my books with 4 elastics. The next refill notebook I have in my Fauxdori, Holtz Inspired Fauxdori, is, and it's got a calendar on the front, but this is, I made this a perpetual calendar. And of course, here's the folder in the front, and then here is the perpetual calendar. And that way, you know, you can insert as you need to. This, I have enough in here to take you into next year. So, you know, you can replace it at the end of each year if you need to. You can go forward if you need to. Sometimes you run out of calendar before you run out of planning events. And then in the back, of course, we have another pocket there. And so, you know, you can put your bills in here to plan for. You put cards in here for birthdays, anniversaries, whatever you need to remember in the calendar, anything like that. Moving on to the next, third book in the 4 books that we have is I put the folder, this time I put the folder on the outside. And this has the bird's nest and the eggs. It matches the inside, and I have tags in there. And I filled this with the brown craft paper that so many of us, those of us that do Midori type journaling and planners and things like that. We love the brown craft paper, and it's just a lot of fun to use. So this one has the brown